Level 1. The intake. You're 28. The Conair Boeing 737 lands at the Pueblo, Colorado airport. You are wearing a bright orange jumpsuit. You are shackled at the ankles, chained at the waist, and handcuffed inside a black box that completely immobilizes your wrists. A heavily armed tactical team loads you into an armored bus. You look out the window at the Rocky Mountains. Take a good look. It is the last time you will ever see the horizon. You arrive at the United States Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility, ADX Florence. You are stripped, searched, and marched into general population. The cell is exactly 7 by 12 feet. The bed is a solid slab of poured concrete. The desk is poured concrete. The stool is poured concrete. The shower is on a timer to prevent you from flooding the cell. The window is 4 inches wide and 43 inches long, angled upward so you can only see the sky. You cannot see the mountains. You cannot see the grass. The heavy steel door slams shut. The silence that follows is not peaceful. It is a heavy physical weight that presses against your eardrums. You have 23 hours a day in this box. You start pacing. 5 steps forward, turn. 5 steps back, turn. The concrete absorbs your panic. You are buried alive and your heart is still beating. Level 2. The tapper. You're 30. The psychological starvation begins in the second year. The human brain is not designed for absolute sensory deprivation. You start hallucinating the smell of fresh rain. You start talking to yourself just to prove your vocal cords still work. Then, late one night, you hear it. A faint, rhythmic clicking coming from the steel sink. Tap, tap, pause, tap. It is the plumbing pipes. You press your ear against the cold steel. You learn the prison's binary language. The inmates are communicating through the water lines, tapping out messages in a crude, improvised Morse code. You pick up your plastic toothbrush. You tap back. You spend 6 hours a day having agonizingly slow conversations with a man in the cell below you. You don't know his name. You don't know his face. You just know he is doing life for a triple homicide in Chicago. The tapping becomes your entire social universe. If the guards catch you, they cut your water off. You don't care. You tap until your knuckles bleed. The plumbing is the only proof that you exist. Level 3. The fisherman. You're 33. You are allowed 1 hour of recreation a day in a concrete pit that looks like an empty swimming pool. You never see another inmate, but you learn to manipulate the microenvironment. You become a fisherman. You pull a single elastic thread from the waistband of your government-issued underwear. You spend 3 weeks painstakingly unraveling it, tying it together to create a 20-foot invisible line. You use a rolled-up piece of wet toilet paper as a weight. You lie on your stomach on the freezing concrete floor. You slide the line under the heavy rubber sweep of your steel door. You cast it out into the hallway, trying to hook a tiny folded note, a kite, shot out by the guy in the cell across from you. It takes exactly 45 minutes of blind manipulation. You hook it. You pull it in. The note contains the latest federal gang politics and the score of a football game. You read it 20 times. You swallow the paper to destroy the evidence. You have successfully bypassed the most secure multi-million-dollar surveillance system on Earth using elastic and wet toilet paper. Level 4. The jailhouse lawyer. You're 37. The walls are closing in. The only way out of your cell other than the recreation cage is the law library. You don't have a law degree, but you have infinite time. You become a pro se litigant. You file endless, meticulous civil rights lawsuits against the Bureau of Prisons. You sue them over the temperature of the food. You sue them over the lighting. You sue them over the mail policy. You don't expect to win. Winning is entirely irrelevant. You are weaponizing the legal bureaucracy just to force them to transport you down the hallway to the secure legal terminal. The guards hate you. The administration hates you. You generate hundreds of pages of handwritten legal motions. You read federal case law until your eyes blur. You use the law not for justice, but for mobility. Every lawsuit is a desperately engineered vacation from your 7 by 12 concrete tomb. Level 5. The range caller. You're 41. The psychological pressure cooker of the unit finally breaks people. The guy in cell 4 starts screaming at 2 a.m. and doesn't stop for 3 days. He smears feces on the wall. He has lost his mind. You do not lose your mind. You become the range caller. You are the voice of the block. When the guards come in to do a forced cell extraction, suiting up in riot gear to brutally subdue a psychotic inmate, you are the one shouting through the air vents, dictating the narrative. You tell the other inmates to bang on their doors in unison. The noise is apocalyptic. You coordinate hunger strikes over the quality of the commissary. You organize the chaos. You project your voice through the HVAC system, commanding respect from men who have murdered entire families. You don't have a gang, you don't have weapons. Your only weapon is your absolute, unbreakable psychological endurance. You become the unofficial mayor of a psychiatric nightmare. Before we go further, if you've made it this far, comment what career you want to see next. Hit that like button right now and subscribe. We upload 6 videos over a 6-day period. Level 6, the SAM's target. You're 46. You are transferred to H Unit, the terrorism and cartel block. You are now under special administrative measures, SAMs. The gag order is absolute. The Attorney General of the United States personally signed the document, stripping you of your remaining communication rights. You cannot watch the news. You cannot read unredacted newspapers. You cannot make phone calls to anyone except your pre-approved attorney. If you try to pass a message to another inmate, you lose your recreation time for a year. You are in the deepest, darkest hole in the American justice system. The guy in the cell next to you blew up a building. The guy across the hall ran a transnational hit squad. You are surrounded by the most infamous names in modern history, and you will never see their faces. The silence here is different. It is engineered. The government isn't just punishing your body. They are systematically starving your mind of external input. You sit on the concrete slab. You count the pores in the cinder block wall. You memorize the exact pattern of the gray paint. You have to invent an entire universe inside your own head just to survive the afternoon. Level 7, the proxy. You're 52. You have a 15-minute non-contact legal visit with your defense attorney. You sit behind thick, bulletproof plexiglass. You speak through a secure telephone line monitored by the FBI in real time. You are a high-ranking cartel boss, and you are still running your empire from inside the blackout zone. You don't use names. You don't use locations. You speak in a highly sophisticated, improvised code disguised as family gossip. Tell my cousin in Guadalajara that the rainy season is coming early, so he needs to harvest the corn by Tuesday, you say smoothly. The FBI agent listening to the tape hears a man worried about his family's farm. Your attorney writes it down. The message hits the streets. On Tuesday, a rival cartel plaza is brutally wiped out by an enforcement squad. You just ordered a mass execution using agricultural metaphors from inside a Supermax isolation cell. The steel walls are thick, but the gravity of your influence bends right through them. Level 8. The Striker. You're 57. The administration confiscates your legal paperwork. They cut your allotted shower time. You have nothing left to leverage except your own biology. You declare a hunger strike. You refuse all meals. You drink only tap water from the stainless steel sink. The Bureau of Prisons does not negotiate. On day 10, your vision starts to blur. On day 14, your body begins consuming its own muscle mass. You are so weak you cannot stand up when the guards open the door. A special medical extraction team enters your cell in full riot gear. They strap you into a specialized restraint chair. You are immobilized. A doctor feeds a thick, lubricated plastic tube up your nose and straight down into your stomach. They pump a high-calorie liquid supplement directly into your digestive tract. It is incredibly painful. You vomit, but the straps hold you down. You do this twice a day for 6 months. It is a sheer, terrifying battle of wills between you and the federal government. You are weaponizing your own slow suicide, and they are mathematically keeping you alive just to preserve the punishment. Level 9. The Whale. You're 63. You are the reason this facility was built. You are a global icon of the underworld. A whale. Your net worth on the outside was in the billions. You dictated the macroeconomics of entire continents. Now your entire world is 84 square feet. You don't tap on the pipes. You don't fish for kites. You don't scream at the guards. You sit at your poured concrete desk, wearing your khaki uniform, and you read books. You display a terrifying Zen-like patience. The guards are specifically rotated every few months, so they don't form a psychological bond with you. The warden monitors your cell on a private feed. You understand that your physical body is trapped, but your legend is growing on the outside. Every day you survive in the hole without breaking, your myth becomes stronger. The federal government spent $50 million to lock you in a box, and you defeat them every single day simply by refusing to lose your mind. You are the apex predator of the concrete jungle. You don't fight the cage. You become the cage. Level 10. The Ghost. You're 70. The fluorescent light in the ceiling buzzes with a low, eternal frequency. You have been in solitary confinement for 42 years. You have not touched a blade of grass, seen a tree, or shaken another man's hand in 4 decades. You have lost all concept of the outside world. If the warden walked in today and opened the front gate, you wouldn't leave. The world out there is chaotic, loud, and unpredictable. The concrete cell is predictable. The concrete cell is safe. You know exactly how many steps it takes to cross the floor. You know exactly what time the shadow from the 4-inch window hits the sink. You sit on the concrete bed. You don't think about the cartel. You don't think about the FBI or the SAMs or the force-feeding chair. You watch the dust motes float in the single beam of sunlight. You think about the plumbing pipes. You think about the wet toilet paper sliding under the door. You sit completely alone in the absolute silence, realizing that the system didn't just break you, it assimilated you. You spent half your life fighting the walls only to realize the walls eventually grew inside your head. You were never the prisoner. You are the prison. The silence is absolute. That was always the